Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope you guys are doing really well. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be continuing on with the business builds. Not last video was the mid-century build. The video before that was the coffee shop build. It was cute, it was pastel, it was pink, it was cozy. So we did the coffee shop then. So this video is going to be the continuation of like the little shops that are on this little row. So yeah, as I said, the first one was a little coffee shop. This one is going to consist of a bakery and a gallery. The gallery is something that is, I think, something different. It's something that I have definitely never done in a house flipper game before. Like, I did realize at the end of the coffee shop video that I've actually done quite a few like business related builds, but I've never done a gallery. So a gallery is what is going to be one of these builds, but first off we are going to be working on the bakery. So the bakery is the reason mainly that I didn't have any food or anything like that inside the coffee shop, because I knew I wanted a bakery next door. This was going to be, if you watched the previous video, I mentioned about like a flower shop. This was originally going to be like a flower shop, but then like I decided I didn't want to do another flower shop as I'd already done a flower shop, as I said in that video as well. Not to say that I wouldn't never like do another flower shop build, but just for this little row of houses, I didn't want to do this as a flower shop. So we have a bakery instead. Also, if you enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you have not already if you enjoy these style of builds. I do a lot of sandbox mode builds as well as renovations of like existing homes in the House Flipper games, so both of them, House Flipper 1 and House Flipper 2. So if you enjoy that sort of stuff, consider subscribing and leave a like on this video. Let me know which of these like little businesses you like the most. And yeah, just thank you guys so much for being here as always. So back to the bakery. So this is why I didn't want any like food or anything inside the coffee shop, because I decided to do a bakery. So this is like where you could go to get your cakes, your bread, your loaves of bread. You can order cakes here like for birthdays, stuff like that, cupcakes. There's other things as well, like donuts and bits and bobs like that. I knew that this was like a really small area. It was a real, like, all of the shops here, the coffee shop is probably the biggest sort of plot I get. Oh yeah, it's bigger in size. Like there's a lot more in the coffee shop than there is in the bakery and the gallery. So I knew that this was going to be like a tight squeeze to try and fit in everything that you would need for a bakery, like ovens, like a little hob, a sink. I end up putting down 2 wood dishwashers in this one because lots of stuff to wash up and stuff like that. And yeah, so I knew that there was like a lot of stuff that would go into a bakery, and I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to fit it all in, but I think I managed to fit it in quite well. It has some seating in there as well that I do, but I started off putting in 3 ovens because I was like, you know, it's a bakery, got tons of stuff baking on the go all the time, like bread and stuff, or maybe they like bake in the morning and then, you know, whatever they manage to bake in the morning, that's what they sell throughout the day, and they don't really like bake anything else unless they have like a pickup order or something like that. So yeah, I originally put in 3 ovens, but I end up taking one out, swapping it over for a sort of like drink fridge. So if people come in and they want like a drink or something, there's choices there as well to go along with like the baked goods. And of course the like color scheme for this one is also very pink. It's very pink and yellow. They're just 2 colors again that I think go really well together, and it was, I don't know, it was really fun. And then the gallery, which is gonna be like later on in this video, there will be timestamps as always. The gallery is like almost the polar opposite of both of these 2 builds, like the coffee shop and the bakery. If you haven't seen the coffee shop build and you would like to, I will link it below. But that was the first one that we did, but these 2 I decided to combine into just one video instead of having them as separate. But yeah, this bakery is very pink, very yellow. I just think, I don't know, it just screams cute little bakery on the corner. So I'm really happy with how it turned out and the colors and everything like that. One thing with this build is the coffee shop is actually like the coffee shop and the gallery are actually raised up like one block off of the floor, whereas the bakery is like ground level. And with this part of the map, even though I've put blocks down, there's these leaves and stuff that have kind of like encroached their way into the actual build on the inside, which you can see by the front door and like the beginning part of this video. And honestly, they were annoying me, so I end up putting a rug down. I did think about just like upping the level of the bakery to match the other two buildings, but I decided not to. I decided it would make a nice change for something to be like a ground level, so I kept the bakery as ground level and I just tried to hide those leaves and stuff. They're not like leaves that you can clean up or anything like that. It's like they're literally just like there on the map, so I couldn't really do anything to hide them, and less like putting down a rug, which is what I did, or making the bakery like an extra block high, but I didn't want to do that, so I just end up putting a rug down and that hides that. But yeah, there was no way for like you to like clean up those leaves. They're in there, they're part of the map, they're part of the game. I also, as I said in the previous video where I was doing the coffee shop, that I didn't want to extend the I didn't want to extend this map at all, so I was just kind of like sticking with what I had to work with, which is probably why the bakery and the gallery, and I mean the gallery is actually kind of big. The gallery originally was going to be something else, but I'll talk about that later. But yeah, the bakery is pretty small, but I didn't want to mess around with the lot size too much. There is some windows in the bakery that go out into a, like an alleyway, and I put a bunch of plants and stuff out there to make it seem less dreary, and like that's kind of gross to just like sit and eat a nice like cute pastry while you're looking out into an alleyway. It probably wasn't like the best thing, so I decided to put a bunch of plants out there. It was a little bit annoying to do, but I literally just found something that I could put some plants on, and I put a bunch of them down and then put the plants on them and moved them all as just like one big thing out there. So it was a little bit laborious, but I think it looks a lot better than just looking out into an alleyway while you're trying to enjoy like a nice like cute little cupcake or something like that. So yeah, I put some plants out there, but of course like I could have like changed the size of the map, but I just really didn't want to for this. I wanted to stick with what I've got and try my best to like make it work. So that's what I ended up doing to counteract that. Otherwise I think the bakery would have been really, I mean, it wouldn't have been super closed in because I had a window like at the back and windows at the front, as well as like obviously like the door to come into the bakery. But I don't know, I just really like the idea of having windows there, but looking out in the alleyway wasn't the best thing. So I decided to just put a bunch of plants and everything out there. But yeah, the bakery is very pink and yellow, and I love those two colors. So yeah, it's very bright. I do end up putting in some plants and everything like that in the front as well as out the front of the bakery. Just like as you come into the bakery, there's some plants upside the wall, and then I ended up making a little, like I made for the coffee shop, I made a what do you call it, like a custom picture thing with like different drinks and stuff like that you can order. I done the same thing for the bakery, so later on in the video there's a couple of menus that pop up full of different treats and everything like that you can order from. And of course I wanted to try and make this as like real as possible, like I like to do in my builds. So I tried to put in a bunch of different things on the counter space that you could potentially like use in baking and stuff, as I said, I ended up removing one of the ovens and I ended up replacing it with a with like a drink fridge. But I knew I wanted like a hob, because you know you need a hob, so I didn't want like a huge one, so I ended up settling on just like the small hob, which is just like two hobs. Does that make sense? If you know the one, you know the one. But I thought that was a better idea than having the counter space be taken up a lot by like a 4 hob stove thing. So I just settled for the 2, and then 2 ovens, and I think that's more than enough. Just like a cute little bakery, which maybe isn't open all the time. It's only open for like a certain amount of days a week, and then it's only open for like a certain amount of time during those days, something like that. So I think you know, if you think of the more like practical side of things, it would definitely work out, and I think it's a decent size. Like there's some bakeries that I've been to before which barely has any room for like somebody to stand in them. It's just like one person has to go in almost at a time, and it's just like a little window, and you ask for what you want, you get it, and then you leave, and so on. So it's not the smallest bakery that I have ever seen, so it definitely works. But yeah, I wanted to put up some bits and bobs just to make it, you know, look like a bakery. So there's some eggs, there's milk, there's different cartons of stuff, sugar, flour, all that kind of stuff. I even used some of the like sandbox mode tools and put down some eggshells in the sink. There's lots of egg cartons and bits and bobs scattered around, like different jars of sauces like strawberry sauce and stuff like that, and as well as some champagne, because I was thinking maybe one of the things that they could offer is like a cake made with champagne that you can like order, and bits and bobs like that. Honestly, as well, I've been using the fishing rod tool a lot lately in my sandbox mode builds, and I am disappointed I haven't started to like use it sooner. I really like the fishing rod tool. I like the move tool. The move tool's great, but I think I really love the fishing rod tool now that I'm just like using it a lot. I really like using the fishing rod tool to like either drop things or place things in places where the move tool is just a little bit annoying. And the fishing rod tool is different to the move tool now, just because the move tool has the like the outlines of the item that you're trying to move. So unless it's something that I need to only like move a tiny little bit, when I'm moving other little like bits and bobs like decorations and stuff, I do like to use the fishing rod tool now. Absolutely love that tool, and I've been using it a lot lately. So yeah, I'm glad I've started to use that tool a lot more. But yeah, so I swap out one of the ovens for a drinks fridge, and then I stock up the drink fridge as well with all different kinds of drinks. I do go in and change the colors of a lot of stuff. I've started to do that sort of not in the builds really specifically, because they sometimes take me a long time to choose colors. I love that we have like a lot of choice of colors, but sometimes they can take me a little bit of time to choose which ones I want. So I just end up stocking the fridge and then changing the colors of the drinks later on to, you know, be something else. So yeah, the drinks fridge ends up getting stocked. The counter space ends up getting like lots of cakes and baked goods and everything on it, as well as the display cases. This is actually the first time that I think I've really used the display cases and stuff like that. It's a nice excuse because it's like a business. You wouldn't really use one of these in your house, I guess, unless you have a house attached to you, or a business attached to your house, sorry. Anyway, it was a nice excuse to use like the actual like display cases, and in there I end up just putting like cookies and cupcakes, some bread, donuts, rolls, sort of like you know, it's a bakery, so it has a lot of baked goods and bits and bobs like that. There's also like at the counter space there's a window, so what I was thinking is, you know how sometimes when you go past like bakeries or sweet shops and stuff like that, they have where you can see people making like the cakes and the sweets and everything like that. I was thinking that that window could be sort of like that, so maybe when they're not necessarily like open for business but they're making the bits and bobs ready to be opened, I don't know, maybe the window could act as like people can see that they're making fresh cupcakes or they're icing cakes and stuff like that. So we end up putting a lot of like cakes and some display cakes, or like real cakes, but displaying them so people can see them from the outside, and different baked goods like bread and all that kind of stuff. So I end up putting a lot of that by the window, as it sort of like maybe might entice customers to come in and buy something if they think that something like looks good. And we don't actually have like a cake stand in House Super 2, so I tried to find something that would resemble a cake stand and I couldn't find anything that I liked, so I ended up actually making my own with one of the little like trays and then a vase, and it looks okay. It looks kind of like a cake stand, so I'm happy with it. But I put that in the window as well as some other display stuff near like the customer side, but I also block that off with a little glass wall, so customers aren't just like breathing on all of the cakes or anything like that. So of course it's also a shop, so there has to be a till, so that gets added in later as well. And some sticky notes get dotted around on some cakes, and like there's a cake that I end up boxing up and it's got a little sticky note on it for somebody to come around and pick it up. I actually used my dog's name. She gets her own cake. So yeah, I actually do that to just try and drive home, or make it seem as realistic as possible. It's just something that I find a lot of like joy and fun in doing. It's just trying to make it seem as if it was real as possible. So like if you could just like pick up my builds and put them in real life, they would hopefully anyway, like apart from plumbing stuff, because that's not really a thing in House of It, which I don't mind. I think that it's not like a big deal. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but yeah, if you were to just like pick up one of my builds or anything and put them in like real life, besides of like electrical and plumbing sort of things, I think that hopefully most of the time they are like as practical as possible. So yeah, that's just something that I really like doing. But yeah, I really like how the bakery turned out, and there are some chairs in the bakery, just a couple of little places for you to sit down, but there's also enough walk room left for the customers to come in and either order stuff or get their pickup order, stuff like that. And then there is like another 2 rooms out of the back of this little bakery, but they're for like staff only. So there's a little storage room which has a fridge. There isn't actually a fridge other than the drinks fridge. There's no fridge in the main section of the bakery, if you will. So that's in the quote storage room, I guess. But that's in there, and that's filled with different things as well, like egg cake orders that somebody's made and everything like that, as well as there's a board that I put in that room which has a bunch of sticky notes on it for like pickup orders or things that they've got to make and stuff like that customers have put orders in for, and it's like different days of the week that they're open and stuff like that. So I've tried to think of it sort of like that kind of thing, and I think it gives off like the general idea. And then also in the back there is a bathroom which is like a staff bathroom only. It homes like some first aid and just a toilet, a sink, some cleaning supplies, stuff like that. And it's not necessarily like a bakery where it's open for long periods of time, so I was thinking that they could only be open for a certain amount of days a week and then a certain amount of time, so it's not really the place where you would have like a staff room. I think if I was to obviously extend the map, then I would probably definitely add in a like staff area to the bakery as well, but I was kind of going off the idea that it's not open all the time and it's not open for really long periods of time. So that was my excuse or workaround for not having a staff room in this area, but there is a bathroom in case, you know, you need to wash your hands or go to the bathroom or anything like that. So that's also just for like staff only. The thing with the bathroom as well, the leaves that I mentioned about poking through the front of the building, they also poke through in the bathroom, which is slightly annoying. So I end up actually raising the floor of the bathroom. It's a little bit weird because you have to like step up into the bathroom and then not trip out of the bathroom, but you know, it works, and there was just no way for me to get rid of those leaves, even like painting or tiling or whatever the floor. It wasn't working because it was just like ground level, and it's, you know, it's just built into that map, and I couldn't get rid of it. So that was a problem with the bathroom, but it wasn't the biggest deal, so I just raised that up one, and it worked out fine. I think it worked out fine. But yeah, no staff room in the bakery, but there is like a bedroom, not a bedroom. I mean, a bedroom in a bakery. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. Probably not, right? But yeah, so there's a little like staff toilet, little storage room for orders and stuff, and then you have the main area with some seating and lots of pictures of like cakes and bits and bobs like that. So yeah, that is the bakery side of things. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to leave just like me chatting here for the moment, but I'm gonna hop back in after the bakery tour. We go and we do the gallery, and I'm gonna hop in then and then speak to you about the gallery. So it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy in this video, so I hope you guys don't mind. As always, I'll put some timestamps in the description for when the gallery portion of the build starts and everything like that. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of the bakery and the coffee shop so far. So thank you so much for watching up to this point. I hope you enjoy watching the rest of the bakery, and I'll see you when I start the gallery portion of the build. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed the rest of the bakery coming together. We are now in the gallery part of this build. As I said, I'm just combining these two together because they didn't take me very long, and I didn't see much point in separating the two videos into two videos and like dragging out the whole build. Hopefully that makes sense, but just for my own like peace of mind, I wanted to put them together. So hopping back in here with a little bit of chat. So hopefully this isn't too like confusing or annoying. Do let me know in the comments. It's not very often that I do things like this where I'll like stop talking and then talk later on in the video. So yeah, it definitely won't be a habit, but just for this, as they're two separate builds, I didn't want to be talking about the gallery when the gallery literally was not gonna start for like another 40 odd minutes or whatever. But hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I really hope that you've been enjoying it so far. But yeah, this is a gallery, and I originally was going to have this like section, this store. It was gonna be a furniture store, and as I was thinking about it, I was thinking that kind of sounds a little bit boring. I thought it sounded kind of boring, so I was just like, okay, no, I don't want to do a furniture store. Although I think that it would look really cool, I just think that the idea would be kind of boring. So I wanted to do something that was different that I hadn't done before, and that's a gallery. And the thing that I really like about this idea is all of the pictures and stuff that are in the gallery are my own. They're my own screenshots from different games that I've played, and honestly I have thousands of screenshots. I think I'm a screenshot fiend. Like, I love screenshots. I love a game with photo mode. I love taking screenshots in House Flipper. I love taking screenshots in any game that I play. I just really like them. So these are just a select few. Honestly, I have thousands of screenshots, but these are just like a select few that I thought would fit like a gallery vibe. And the sort of idea for this is people could come in and they could like buy them or something like that. You know, I'm pretending they're not actually like my own, like they're actually like artwork pieces, but I wanted to use my own screenshots to make it a little more unique to like me, and a little bit more custom rather than using just the in-game like photos and stuff. So yeah, all of the photos and everything that you see in this portion of the build are my own. Like, I've taken them, they're from games that I play, they're from games that I love, everything like that. So I wanted to make it a little bit more custom in that sense as well, but the idea or like vibe, theme, whatever was the like correct way of saying it, you know, it's a gallery where you can go in and you can buy one of these paintings or photos or artwork pieces, stuff like that. So, you know, it's a gallery. You don't have to pay to enter, but you can buy the artwork that's on the wall. So yeah, there's a lot of different game related screenshots. If you see any of the games on the walls that you also recognize or that like you also play, do let me know in the comments because I'd be really curious. But there's some Sunset Overdrive, there's some Dead by Daylight, which is like the little horror category. There's some Days Gone ones, ESO, Disney Dreamlight Valley, and then just some other games as well, Cyberpunk, Grounded, just like some other bits and bobs. So yeah, I just wanted to make it a little bit more custom to myself, and because I absolutely love taking screenshots and I love a game that has photo mode, I thought this was a really good excuse to use some of like my own photos and everything like that as well. So there's a small horror section. I didn't want to put in tons of horror things because obviously House Flipper is like a very sort of like cozy game, and I didn't want to be throwing in too much horror related stuff. So I thought that the gallery could have just like a little horror section with some gory bits. So I thought it would be cool to have like a little horror section. So the little horror section that I have here is for Dead by Daylight, and then the rest of the pictures are just from like a variety of different games that I've played, ones that I really love, and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought that was a really cool idea to do for this. I've never made a gallery sort of like build before. It's just never been something that I've thought of, but as I said, this was originally going to be a furniture store, and as I was thinking about it while I was doing the bakery, because I'd already like planned them out roughly, and I knew I wanted to do the coffee shop, and then I was just like, oh, flower shop, and then I was just like, no, let's do a bakery, and then I was just like, okay, well, what could this one be? And it was going to either be a furniture store or like a bar, and I was thinking, oh, like, I don't know, to me a bar seems boring, and then I was just like, a furniture store is kind of boring, but also it could be cool because obviously, you know, there's loads of furniture in House of Bear, so you could have like sections for like an IKEA pretty much, I was thinking. But then I was just like, no, that actually seems kind of like boring. And then I thought a gallery, and I liked the idea of a gallery because I know I absolutely love screenshots and taking screenshots in different games. So I decided that that was what I wanted to go for, and I think it works out pretty well, you know. It's very simple. It's not like it was a difficult build. It definitely was not a difficult build, and there wasn't really much to go into it. But just as like a personal standpoint, like it has a lot of custom bits in it and bits that I've personally like done, if that makes sense, because all of these screenshots are ones that I have taken. So I just thought that that was like cool. So it's just like a little Jelly's gallery thing. So yeah, I don't know. I probably wouldn't do a gallery build again. But I am happy with how this one turned out, and just for like a little row of shops, it's something that's very different, like color wise as well as just like theme wise to the other two builds, which is, you know, a colorful, or maybe not colorful, but like a cute little coffee shop, and then a pink bakery. This one's very sort of dark and moody and more, I guess, mature in a way, like, oh, it's fancy or whatever. I don't know. I think I'm just being weird about it now. So yeah, this is a gallery, and it just has like the gallery floor. I really like the walls that I put up using the poles. So it's like you have the artwork on those, and then the rest of the walls scattered around also have artwork on them. I do label all of them. The letters that are in the game were actually too big. I did try to use them, but I ended up using the rug that you can customize, so like you can write on it. I ended up using that for like the plaques for all of the artwork pieces, and so I went around and I like named them all, and some of the names are like quite long, so rather than having like Horizon Zero Dawn, I've just put like Horizon, or we've got just like characters names like Aloy and Rost and stuff like that. But I thought that was a cool way to do the names rather than me having to like make them in like Photoshop or Paint or something and then put them in as posters. I thought using the rug was a better idea, and I like the way that it turns out, so I'm glad that I used the rug rather than going in and trying to make like literal like individual nameplates for each of them. And yeah, I'm just really pleased with how this build turns out as just like something very different to the bakery and the coffee shop. And as I said, like this section of like these builds, it wasn't like difficult or anything. It's very simple, but I really like that the way that it turned out, and just like the overall thing, like you can come in, you can have a walk around and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm happy with how it turned out, even though it wasn't like the most complicated build to possibly do. And the pictures have like some lights above them and just bits and bobs like that. This area also does have a little till or a kiosk area where you can buy the paintings or order the paintings or stuff like that. And yeah, it's just like a little computer there, as well as the till and a phone and just bits and bobs like that. As well as this area has this build, sorry, has a storage room and a bathroom, which the bathroom is also like staff only, and the storage area is also just a little storage area. I did originally, like in the sort of like a storage area room, put in like a coffee machine and a microwave, but I ended up actually taking those out. I keep a little fridge in there and a sink. Now that I'm like watching this back again, I feel like I probably could have got rid of the sink because I don't really think that it was necessary, or maybe I should have kept the coffee machine at least. But again, sort of like the bakery, I was thinking that this place is not open a lot. Like it's maybe only open a couple days a week, or for like special events they could hire like a little catering company or something like that, and they could put up like a little pop-up stall in the gallery area with some like wine, stuff like that. But it's only open for a couple of hours when it's open, so it's not the type of thing where it needs a lot of stuff for staff, if that makes sense. But now I'm watching it back, I definitely think that I should have at least kept like a coffee machine or whatnot. But as I was building this, I was thinking more, it's not so much like a staff room as it is a storage room where spare paintings are kept, or paintings that have been sold that needs to be packaged up and wrapped up and sent to customers, stuff like that. And the sinks there for you to like wash your hands, and then there's a bathroom as well. The bathroom's actually kind of big-ish for this for like what this place is, so I probably could have and should have maybe made that a little bit smaller, but I think it's fine. So yeah, not really like a staff room area, more like a storage area. And I also put in there some other little bits and bobs, like some statues and stuff that could potentially be on display or sold or stuff like that, so they're in there. And just like a little packaging area, I use the wrapping paper actually and make it sort of look like a brown like parchment paper, so that's sort of like the packing supplies and stuff like that to pack orders and bits and bobs. And I put some sold sticky notes on some of the paintings to make it feel a little bit more, I guess, like realistic and stuff like that. But yeah, I think the gallery, if I was to do it again, like I said, I don't think I would probably ever do a gallery again. I don't know, it just wasn't like, I like to do houses more than anything. The businesses are like cool, like I'm really happy with the coffee shop and the bakery, but they're definitely not sort of things like if I want to build something, business related builds are not the ones that I would personally like gravitate towards. But I'm happy with like how all three of these worked out. But if I was to do a gallery again, I would maybe do like a bigger sort of like storage room or something. But yeah, so yeah, that is the gallery, and there's like a little bathroom and stuff, and some like a bucket and a mop and stuff like that to like clean the gallery floor and stuff like that. But yeah, that is the gallery and the bakery. I will leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I really do hope that you've enjoyed it. There are a couple of different builds that I don't usually do, but as always, I'm really happy with how this build turned out as a whole. Do let me know in the comments which sort of like one is your favorite. Do you prefer the coffee shop, the bakery, or do you like the gallery? Honestly, I love all of them. I do like how I mean, the coffee shop and the bakery are very similar in like their color schemes. And I'm just happy that I finally got around to doing like a little row of shops, because I've been meaning to do this, as I said, in the coffee shop build since I did the flower shop build. That was my initial idea for that. But yeah, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I would definitely give it another go, maybe like with shops below and houses above, like I was originally intending with the flower shop build that I did. But that's probably something that I might try and do in the future. But yeah, I'm really happy with how these 3 builds turned out. I'm glad I didn't resize the plot or anything, and gave myself a little challenge as to the room that I have to work with. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you have any ideas for like other businesses that you would like me to try and give a go at some point. And yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed this video and watching these other 2 businesses come together. So if you haven't seen the coffee shop one, I will link that in the description. And I'll also link some of my other like businesses that I've made in the past as well, if you would like to check those out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you have a favorite shop that I've built here. Don't forget to give this video a like. I hope that you haven't minded that I've split up the commentary and like 2 separate areas of this build. I just didn't want to be talking about the gallery when we weren't even like in the gallery. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out this video. I appreciate you all so much. Leave a like, leave a comment, be sure to subscribe if you have not already, and you enjoy what you see here and you would like to see some more. Turn notifications on so you never miss a video, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, bye.